And go for it, please.
Okay, Matt, thank you very much. Welcome everybody to our spring school regular board meeting today, April 26th. We're getting started a little late. We were in executive session prior to this where we were going over personnel and contractual items. So please excuse us for being late. So it's 7:21. I would like to call the meeting to order. Julie, would you do roll call, please?
Sure. Barbara Dayton,
Here.
Dave Conlon,
Here.
Tim Frazier,
Here.
Pat Brabant,
Here.
Amy Rivera.
Here.
Okay, thank you. And if we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. This is for
Okay. We do not have a student council report this evening. Hopefully we'll get to see our students again next month. It's always great to hear from them and hear what they've been able to make happen this year for themselves. But we'll move on to recognition items. And unfortunately, our first item this evening is in remembrance of Terry Miller, a former teacher at our school who recently passed away. And I know Deb got to spend some time with her when Deb first got on the board here. So Deb, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you, Barbara. Terry started at Spring School in 1973 as a third grade teacher. She retired in 2010. She was an individual who went back to school to get her reading certification, her master's, and she approached reading as it's not what the child disability is, but rather what reading approach we could offer that child to make learning better for them. So she always had a positive attitude and always said that not just one program sufficed. You had to find the program that worked. She attended Spring School as a student, learned that when meeting with her. Some of her later teaching peers were also her classmates, so that was kind of neat. Along with the school, Terry was a member of the Presbyterian Church of East Hampton and participated in the handbell choir. She also loved her dogs. She had Hunter was her award-winning tracker dog, and I can remember her having him on the lawn. Terry loved to knit, and she was part of a knitting group that did caps for kids, newborns that were leaving the hospital. So Terry definitely is going to be missed by her colleagues. They did rally around her, I know, offering to take her to the hospital and take her for treatments. And she was not alone when she passed. She was with her friends.
Thank you very much. So if we could all rise and have a moment of silence in memory, please. Thank you very much. And our condolences to Terry's family and her friends. Additionally, this evening, we are going to recognize someone else who has been with our school for the past year and was able to step in during a time of need, but who will not be with us for much longer. And that is Maria Mondini, who's also historically spent a lot of time at our school. Who would like, Deb, who is this going to be, you or Christine?
I'll start and Christine will add. Barbara, we reached out to Maria on your recommendation, and it was a cold call. I had not met Maria before, and it was a pandemic, and we were asking the world of her, and she said yes. She wanted to come home to spring school where she taught, and she knew a lot of the colleagues, and if it was like coming home for her. And she just brought a sense of humor to a very difficult, challenging opening for spring school. And I want to thank her for stepping up. She didn't have to. She was going to be with us through November. She's going to be with us through May 14th. And we just can't thank her enough. She did schedule after schedule. She did desk counting and shield counting and just making sure teachers had everything they needed. She referred to our children as little people, and she was sometimes uncomfortable around them, but she always managed to put a smile on their faces because she was used to high school kids. She came from the high school at East Hampton. So we enjoyed having her, and she is going to be missed. And I know Christine has a few words.
You're on mute.
Sorry about that. I had never met Maria either, but I knew of her. Her name, her reputation preceded her as an extremely competent and intelligent administrator on the East End of Long Island. And I knew that she had been a teacher at Spring School many years ago. So when we met, it was great because we hit it off right away. And she was such an asset and such a tremendous help to me as a new principal. She was such a role model and a mentor to me. So besides being a support, and as Deb said, she came in September and expected to leave in November, and 7 months later, here she is. So I guess you could say it was a very successful blind date. But she hit the ground running in September and helped us with everything and anything. And I can't thank her enough. I wish her well in her second round of retirement. And she kept things light with her very unique brand of humor. And we'd like to thank her for that. And just, she can't be here tonight, but in her absence, I just wanted to give her some acknowledgement. And I know that the teachers really, really adored her, and she really made some nice relationships here while she was here. And hopefully she won't be a stranger, and we can call on her again if we need to for her expertise. So thank you, Maria.
Deb, and Barbara, just as a board member, I'd just like to take a moment and thank Maria. She's definitely a colleague of mine. I work with her in Southampton as an administrator, and was thrilled when she went to East Hampton, and my daughters had a great opportunity of being under her tutelage at the high school. And for her to come to help us out this year was truly amazing. And so I just think I can share the total board feels the same way. I'm sure that we really thank her and value everything she's done for us at Spring School.
We were very lucky to have her here, and I certainly got to know her through my kids at the high school. And when, you said we suddenly needed to fill that position, it seemed like, that would be the right thing if she was free. And I'm so glad that she was. As she's been such a help to you guys and just an all-around wonderful person. So it was really great that she could spend that time with us and be there. So thank you, Maria.
She'll hear this.
Oh, yeah. And maybe we should do a little, where'd the meeting go? Additional recognition, speaking of assets to our school who have come from the high school, while perhaps we should jump into introduce our new hire at this point in our recognition list, our new vice principal, who is coming to us from the high school, Josh Odom. who is here with us this evening. Deb?
Yes. So we're thrilled. I'm thrilled to recommend to the Board of Education Josh Odom for our new assistant principal. Josh comes to us from the English department at East Hampton High School. He knows our children, he knows our families, and he went through a grueling interview experience. We screened about 12, 13 candidates, and then we brought several to a full committee, our colleagues, our teachers. We had a parent on the committee, 2 parents on the committee, and came out ahead in that interview process, and then spent some quality time with Christine and I at the school, getting to see what it's like to work with little people. And he just, his smile brightens a room, and we absolutely think he's the right one to complete our cabinet and our administrative team and lead Springs with a new addition and new programs. So we're excited to have Josh Odom.
Okay.
Barbara, are you going to recommend, or is Deb
Oh,
going to?
actually, you know what? Yeah, I want to pull that out of the
Pull that out, Barbara.
later in the agenda and go down to personnel and take care of this item of business right now. So be it resolved, the Board of Education hereby approves the appointment of Joshua Odom to a 4-year probationary assistant principal position effective July 1st, 2021, with an anticipated tenure date of July 1st, 2025, at an annual salary of $120,000 plus benefits. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Now,
Welcome aboard.
welcome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Josh.
Thanks, everyone. I'm very excited. Thank you.
All right, let me just scoot back up the agenda here. Okay. So next in our item of recognition, we have a donation from the Greater East Hampton Education Foundation for both for fitness and for science. Deb, do you want to review those?
Yes, John King received $2,000 for a fitness center. He intends on bringing some fitness equipment to our new gym. So congratulations to him. And of course, Sean Knight is always thinking hands-on science. And he received $2,000 from the Greater East Hampton Education Foundation, who, again, we're so grateful to. They support a lot of our programs at Spring School. So.
Oh, that's great news. And our teachers are so good about writing grants and getting support to continue the activities that they want to continue. And we certainly appreciate both their efforts for that and the East Hampton Education Foundation for their continued support for our teachers. And moving on, we have a capital project update, which is always fun to hear what has been accomplished over the last month. I did get a tour of the building. It's super exciting to see how things are coming along. So we have Jim Whiting and Derek Natz with us here this evening.
Yes, good evening.
Hi.
Thank you for having us tonight. So tonight's April 2021 presentation is going to consist of the following sections. Section 1, work progress for this month. Section 2, planned work for May. Section 3, construction photos, showing you some of the most recently completed scopes throughout the project. So starting with the work that has occurred and is currently occurring for this month, April 2021. Plan to finish the brick for the gym. It's currently 99% completed with the brick. Finishing the brick for the south classrooms, which is, as of today, completed 100%. Start the stucco on the east walls, currently estimated at 75%. Painting of interior walls, 60%. Installing ceramic tile in the bathrooms, 95% complete. Installing ceramic tile in the locker rooms, that's 100% complete. Finishing roofing on the gym roof, 100% complete. Installing the generator and the generator concrete pad, it's 95% completed. The startup is scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. Installing ceiling grid in the classrooms and halls, that is 99% complete. That's specific to the new addition. We have some interior renovations that does not represent in that percentage. Installing lighting in the classrooms, again, new addition, 85% complete. Installing additional drainage in the field, 100% complete. And based on last week's rain and yesterday's rain, it is effectively working. There was no standing water after those large rainfalls. So work scheduled for May 2021. Completing brick for the new addition. There's a very minor amount of brick that has to occur. It may even be completed in the month of April. Completing the stucco on the building addition. Finishing the painting of the gym and door frames. Finishing the ceiling grid in the classrooms and hallways. Installing ceiling tile in the classrooms and hallways. And starting the vinyl floor installation throughout the building. All right, so these first set of photos, the left photo is the gymnasium addition. The brick is completed. The protected areas up above are with a new cowl system, which is essentially the windows for the gym. They're expected to be delivered and installed in the month of July. The right photo, if you see the bare block in the distance within that photo, that's the new tech room. Since this photo has been taken, the stucco has been installed on that section of the building. And I believe throughout this, you will see some of those stucco photos. All right, so this is the brick for the south walls for the classrooms. The left photo is showing you an egress door that enters you into the new courtyard that was created from the new addition itself. The right photo showing you the completed brick for typical classrooms, and that bump out in the foreground is the tech room, the other side of the tech room. All right, this is the stucco that I was mentioning earlier. The left photo shows the beginning stages of the stucco. It's a scratch coat, as it's called. And the right photo is the completed stucco, and that's that white material in between the brick and the window openings. Okay, here's some interior photos. The left photo is the tech room. The right photo is the science room. You can see the ceiling grid is installed. You can see lay-in light fixtures and pendant light fixtures. The HVAC is installed in the ceiling grids as well, and the walls are painted. Some of the bathrooms, ceramic tile, again, is 100% complete. Since these photos were taken, some of the porcelain toilets and sinks have been installed. We estimated about 40% of them have been installed to date. Here's some of the ceramic tile in the locker rooms. Again, I believe some of the porcelain fixtures have been installed in this area as well.
Jim, Derek freeze again? We lost Derek, Jim.
Mhm. And he has control over the.
Oh, wonderful.
But I think John has a copy. John Gibbons, you there?
Yes, should we give him a few seconds or should I jump
Yeah.
in?
Okay.
So it looks like all the work that Derek has been describing to this point is, kind of on track with where the construction schedule is. So, moving ahead, the challenging part is the interior work that we'll be taking on this summer. As much work as they can get done on the building addition now is going to help them with, getting that work on the interiors, that they could focus and concentrate on that. So, that's a good thing to see with these pictures, the progress that's being made.
Go back.
Derek back?
I'm on the phone as well because I was having issues. I was hoping that I was able to get through without being cut off on my computer, but unfortunately I was not successful on that. I was just curious what slide is where you
You
lost,
were right there, Derek.
lost me.
I'm at 10 right
Ceramic
now.
tiles.
Slide 10?
Yep.
All right. So, my apologies. So slide 10 is installing the ceramic tile in the locker rooms. The tiles are 100% complete. That's just some floor protection that you see there. The flooring tile has been installed as well as some of the porcelain fixtures in these areas. You could go to the next slide, please. So slide 11 is the finished roofing. This is over the gym currently. The material that you see with the yellow stripes on either side of it is the walkway pads. These are installed in the high traffic areas so that there's no wear and tear on the actual roof. Also depicted in this photo is the rooftop units. This supplies the heating and ventilation to the new addition. Slide 12, please. So slide 12 is installing the generator onto the concrete pad. This is the new generator, which is in the existing courtyard. This will be commissioned tomorrow. So we plan that will be up and running by the end of the day tomorrow. Slide 13, installing ceiling grid in the classrooms. You can see the grid is up. We're waiting for the ventilation to be turned on before installing the ceiling tiles themselves, but the light fixtures are being installed, the diffusers for the HVAC, and they'll probably start the perimeter cuts shortly. Slide 14, please. This is installing the light fixtures themselves in that left photo. Those are what we call 2x4 lay-in fixtures. The right photo is a pendant fixture. So the ones to the left are flush with the ceilings. The one to the right hang slightly below. You could also see cord reels up in the ceiling. Those are for the science room as well as the tech room. This picture on the right is the science room. Slide 15. This is the last slide of photos, and this is the additional drainage that was installed in the fields. I referenced this earlier on in the monthly update. As I stated earlier, this work has been completed and it has been tested under the rain events that we had the end of last week and yesterday, and has appeared to work very successfully. So we'll continue to monitor that, but the first signs are very positive relative to its functionality. And that really concludes the update. And if there's any questions or comments, I'd be happy to take them.
Thanks, Derek. I have a question about the gym. So since the windows aren't getting put into July, when does the gym flooring get put down? And
We have the gym flooring scheduled for August.
Okay, and is that the traditional wood flooring?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So the windows will be in prior to that. The HVAC system will be running. The wood is required to acclimate about 2 weeks. So we'll get all the wood in there once the systems are up and running. There'll be some moisture testing of the concrete in preparation and prior to the installation. And once all those criteria are passing, then the installation will occur. We would project it's about a 3-week install after the acclimation of the wood.
Okay.
So by the end of August, it will be completed.
Right. Is there a waiting time on a floor like that before it can be used?
Once they apply the striping and then they seal it, it's really only about 24 hours that it requires for that sealant to harden up and become available for use.
Okay. So is this one of the final things that will end up getting finished up over the summer, do you think?
Yes, this is going to be definitely one of those, the last components, which, you know, ideally, we would like to have done it earlier, but there are some positives of waiting. You know, we get to get everyone off of that floor, working up in the ceilings. Sometimes when the floor goes in earlier, then we have to put protection down, and guys are working with lifts and other items. In this situation, that should not occur, just with the sequencing of events, which is beneficial to the wood floor finished product.
Derek, does the door that you know where you can split the gym in half, is that something that goes in prior to the floor?
It could be done both ways. In this situation, it's likely going to be installed before the gym floor. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, Derek, just a quick question. You mentioned about that generator being commissioned tomorrow. You still going to be able to commission it with the ATS switch not working?
They will be able to commission it with the ATS switch. Yeah, we had a long dialogue with them today, so they can do everything that they need to do, and they can make sure that it's functioning properly, even with that existing component not operating at this time.
Okay, thanks.
I do
You're
have
welcome.
questions from further down in the finance section where we have the allowance authorizations, which I don't know that if that is a question for you or a question for Mike. I just felt like that was something that I wasn't familiar with. We did have the meeting with, you guys last week, and we talked about change orders and overages, but I don't remember these particular subject matters. Were these something new, or did I just miss out on these?
Well, I sent
Jim
copies.
Wade,
Yeah, I think Jim Wade might be able to answer that because those came from John Longo.
Yeah, I don't know which ones you received recently. I don't have a direct list of, I know ones that have been sent out, but as far as what you may have received since we gave you the update last.
Right. It's about replacing removing and replacing a slab near the kindergarten playground.
And the pad for the transformer that PSE&G made us move because we couldn't use the existing.
Okay.
So that was
Right.
one land tech.
Oh, is that what that? Okay, I thought this was something. This said the kindergarten playground. So
Yeah, I was a little confused with that too because I just don't recall that. But
Yeah, we haven't really, by the kindergarten, I know we're doing that summer work. I don't know what that one.
oh, so I'm sorry. So this is the electric service installation and transformer vault location. That's the one near Carline right now, right?
yes,
Okay. Actually, I'm sorry. I thought the kindergarten playground bit was tied to that, and I see these are just separate items listed on here.
yeah.
Okay. And then the other one with Stalco is the ceiling demolition with the truss repair. I thought that we had done this already.
We
That
had
one
talked
could've
about
been-
it, but I don't think we brought it to the board for
Gotcha.
acceptance or approval.
All right. So these are both things that we know where to go. Okay. Now I understand. Thank you.
Bleachers are going in prior to the floor? Bleachers?
No, those
No,
would have
bleachers
to,
would go in.
After
I'm just trying to
the
figure out the order in which, how this all plays out with with the hoops and the the dividing wall and the bleachers? I'm just in terms of time frame for, school starting.
Sure. Everything with the exception of the bleachers would be installed prior to the wood floor. The bleachers would be the component that follows the completion of the floor, if that answers your question.
Yes.
Because once they put the wood floor down and it gets set, then they come in with the striping, painting company that's going to put down the markings, and they want the markings to correspond with the locations of the hoops and things. So it's better that those are in place and then they can work around those.
Plus, also, as I mentioned earlier, you want to avoid people as much as possible working off of the new floor. I mean, they're required to put protection down and stuff, but to the best of your ability, it's just better, safer to have them do as little work as possible off of the finished wood floor. The bleachers sit on the floor, so just the way that construction happens, the wood floor has to go in prior to it. There's not another way of doing it.
And that the install for the bleachers is what, maybe a 2-3 day process?
I would say maybe a week and a half, but
So that would be right up towards the end of August.
they're going to be the last people in, last people out, but we fully plan one way or another to get it done before students arrive.
Gotcha.
We've been going through summer schedules with all the contractors. We just got commitments out of all the contractors as late as today, just, fine tuning it. And we plan to share those schedules with the district at some point this week. So you could actually see the entire project laid out from A to Z on paper with commitments from all the contractors. And that will show each of the individual components completing prior to the start of school.
Okay, that would be great. Thanks, Derek.
You're
Anybody
welcome.
else?
My apologies for my IT problems. I will have them remedied before next meeting.
That's all right. We appreciate it. Anybody else on the board have a question at this time? Okay. All right. Well, thank you again, Derek and Jim, and we will see you next month.
Sounds good. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you. You too.
Every night.
Okay, so moving on, it is time for public commentary number 1 on any of the items of board business that we have upcoming on personnel, finance. So if there are any callers at this time that wish to speak about any of those items, this would be your time to call in. There should be a phone number on your screen.
And as a matter of fact, we do have one person.
Oh, okay.
Wonderful timing. Right. And person ending in 6500. You are live.
Hi, whoever caller, if you could please state your name. Hello? Okay.
Caller, this is LTV. Do you wish to talk?
Okay. All right, I guess not.
Hello?
There you are.
There we go.
Hi there. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right.
This is Ashley Libeth.
Oh, hi there.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi there. Hi. Sorry, I'm having a connection issue. I just wanted to call in and personally thank Maria Mondini for her tenacity and her can-do outlook. I think she brought so many laughs, and I found her realistic leadership approach so endearing and admirable. And I also wanted to call in to welcome Josh Odom. We're so excited to have you, and I look forward to seeing everything you have to offer spring school. And yeah, that's it. And I feel like we are in great hands, Christine, and thank you, board, for the opportunity to welcome Maria and Josh.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you, Ashley. For anybody who's not familiar, Ashley is our PTA president, and she puts in quite a lot of work on behalf of our school. So thank you, and we appreciate your calling in with your good wishes and comments.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks. You too. Anybody else, Matt?
0 additional callers. Thank you, Barbara.
Okay, all right. So let's move on to personnel items. Carrie?
Hi, good evening. So personnel for this evening, the board already appointed Josh as A, so welcome aboard, Josh. Congratulations. We're happy to have you welcome the Springs team, part of the Springs team. So starting with B is the resignation of Nicole Fierro, a PE teacher. We wish her well. She is in the academy to become a police officer, and we will miss her, but she's on to a new chapter. C is the leave replacement for Nicole Fierro, Devin Coy, who has been with us since the beginning of the year, filling in for PE throughout the year and has been doing a very nice job, and our students enjoy him. So welcome aboard, Devin, to the remainder of the year. D is a leave of absence for Nicole Forsberg. She will be having her first child, so congratulations. E is an amendment to the salary advancement for Paige Moorhead. We had the correct salary last month, but it said step 14, not step 15, so that was just a typo there. F is a MOA with the STA. G is appointment for Thomas Lambert, guard. He has been out in front with the stop sign, helping Miss Mondini for dismissal and arrival. And so thank you, Tom, and welcome aboard. H are substitutes for the remainder of the school year. We are still need substitutes and hallway monitors and lunch monitors and bus monitors. So if anybody thinks, oh, it's too late, the school year is over, it's not. Please just email us and we'll get you an interview. I is the resignation for Zena Zamora as a school bus monitor. And J is early morning services for a few teachers, Robbie Mayer, Laura Dunham, Jaring Greenidge, to give our students some extra help early in the morning. K is the amendment for girls tennis, Mr. McCormick and Joey Colavito. L are our Springs sports. Sports are going well, so we're happy to have another season. Girls softball, Elizabeth Crowley, boys baseball, Robbie Mayer, girls and boys track, Sean Knight, and boys tennis, Joe Colavito. M are chaperones for sporting events. N is the chairperson annual meeting and election for Kelly Carmona, and election workers for Linda Cornell, Francine Connors, Karen McFarland, and Dina Rafferty as our election workers. So that is personnel. Are there any questions for personnel this month?
Okay, that all seems pretty straightforward, Carrie. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to move personnel items B through O to a consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Thank you. Mike, moving on to finance.
Okay, if John Gibbons can help out here with the PowerPoint for the budget. I think Deb is going to head it off, start it off.
Thank you, Mike. So before you tonight is the superintendent's proposed budget. Tonight, you're charged with adopting this budget, and then it becomes the Board of Education budget. Mike and I need to certify it this evening and load it to the state, and then a report card will be generated from this meeting tonight. And following that, the community will get a newsletter, and we will have a budget hearing, Mike, on the
10th. Yeah, we had that in the public notice that it's Monday, May 10th, which happens to coincide with the board meeting. So if we could do the public's budget hearing early before the regular board meeting, I think that would be the best solution.
Okay. So I'm going to start. John, could you go to the first slide, please? Not the introduction, the first one.
Slide two, John.
Slide two, John. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to let Mike take this, but I just want to frame that this budget keeps all programs and services for our students. Everything that we find necessary for our students is in this budget. Sports, intramurals, swimming lessons as part of phys ed, our art and music programs, our theater program, the opera and the middle school play, robotics, everything these students have not had for the last 2 years is in this budget. So I want to thank Mike publicly for all his efforts. He continuously looks at the numbers, looks at what is going on at the state level. It has been a moving target, constantly changing. We have a lot of grants to write. All that additional money that the community sees in the paper are not automatics. We have to apply for it. We can't count it until we have it. So Mike and I and Christine and Kerry will be working to get those grants applied for as soon as we have the guidance out for what that looks like. But I just want this community to know that children and students were our first priority, and this budget supports our children of Spring School.
Okay.
Mike?
Yep, the issues impacting the budget, as Deb said, we have quite a few, and they're some of it's a moving target, but obviously the first one is the New York State's tax cap. And this year we had a 3.91% tax cap that would be the maximum we could go to, where we only require a simple 50% plus one majority vote in order to pass the budget.
Mike, and that's 3.91, including our debt service.
Yes, that's everything.
So the regular level for tax levy cap was what? For the standard.
The standard without the
Yes.
without the what do you call it? The exclusions, it
Yes.
would have been somewhere around almost 2%.
Okay.
Yeah, the exclusions, the capital exclusions represented about $860,000, which was pretty close to a 2% margin.
Okay, thank you.
And the next item is on state aid. We're still seeing a lot of uncertainty. When the governor put forth our state aid, he included a pandemic relief of $743,000. When the executive budget or the legislative budget, the final budget came out, that was pulled out of the state aid number and mixed in with the $1.4 million federal grant monies that now we've learned that we have to file for those grants in order to get that money. So we've got basically looking at us $2.2 million that we have to actually write grants for to get the money. Some of it is spread over this current fiscal year, next fiscal year, and the year after. The $743,000 is just for next year. We already filed for the GEAR and the ESSER grant which was about 200 and almost 50,000, I believe, as I recall, that we got approved for. So we're going to be looking at either reclassing some expenses into the grant. So that's where we're at with that. Like I said, like Deb said earlier, it is a moving target. It's been changing for the last couple of weeks. We've got continued all sorts of mandates that come from the Department of Education. The term we've always used is unfunded mandates, because they put these mandates on us with no financial relief in order to execute those mandates. We've also got next generation learning standards, tuition to East Hampton High School. As if you recall, last spring, Deb and I worked with the group and were able to negotiate a 5-year tuition contract that maximizes the maximum increase is going to be 2% from year to year for the most part. Security for student safety is an ongoing battle. So we're trying to fill it. We've got two staff members right now in our security force. Ideally, we should have 3, maybe 4, so that they can rotate better, so that they're not working every single day of the week. Facilities maintenance and repairs are always an ongoing issue. And there are costs related to the building expansion. Obviously, we've got more floor space to cover, more cleaning that needs to go on, more heating that has to happen, more lighting that has to go on, all expenses borne by the general fund that we've got to account for in this particular budget this year. And of course, we still have the ongoing related costs due to the COVID pandemic that we've got to maintain: face masks, PPE equipment, disinfectants, all of those kinds of things. So next slide. Yeah, I guess this is back to you, Deb.
Our priorities. We're going to continue to provide a safe and secure school atmosphere. We're going to continue to follow all New York State Department of Health COVID-19 guidance. We're going to continue to work with our community agencies to maximize our programs and services for all students. Continue to support the rigorous and relevant learning opportunities inside and outside the school building. Focus on our academic programs and interventions that address COVID-related learning loss. Maintain current class sizes, especially in light of not knowing what those guidance will look like for COVID. Maintain athletic and co-curricular offerings. Encourage and support professional development for all staff. Provide a universal pre-K program to at least 36 students, possibly increasing the number of students on site at the SYA building. I'll speak more about that a little later. John? We're going to continue to work with Park East Construction and BBS, our architects, to ensure the capital project timelines are met. Continue to support our social and emotional learning initiatives, second step. Continue to encourage our students' participation in real-life problem-solving opportunities. Continue to expand students' knowledge on how to use technology. Continue to support the arts, music, theater programs. Continue our communication with the community and celebrate our successes. Mike and I will be speaking tomorrow night to the Springs Advisory on the budget. Continue to apply for competitive grants that enhance our programs. You saw that tonight, 2 of our staff going for grants. Mike and I will be filling out the paperwork for additional grants. Continue to address facilities as it relates to the safety and the cost-saving efficiencies that we can gather for the building. Mike?
All right, Proposition 1 for this year's budget vote is, this year's elections, Proposition 1 is the general fund's budget vote, the appropriation budget. And as usual, we have to break it down basically into 3 components: administration, capital, and program. And as I did last year, I broke the program between our K-12 tuition to the East Hampton High School, and the rest of the program are what we're spending to educate the children in spring school. So you can see the breakdown there. It's a budget-to-budget increase of $750,000, which is, somehow I can't see the end of that slide. I think that's 2.5%. Yeah,
yes,
2.5%. That end went right underneath. All right, next slide. For the administration portion of the budget, you've got Board of Ed, Central Administration, Finance, Legal Services, Personnel Services, Public Information, Central Printing, Mail, and Data Processing, District Insurance, BOCES admin charges and other services, Curriculum Development and Supervision, and then the employee benefits associated with the employees that fall into that category. The one thing that will jump out off the page for most people is going to be the central printing, mailing, and data processing. It looks like an enormous jump from 19,600 to 151,000, but that's because we have to do a reclass, moving a bunch of data processing expenditures that are BOCES driven from other codes where they didn't belong and where they were accounted for in the past into this particular line item, which helps increase the aid we get on our BOCES administration aid. Next. The next component is capital, and that includes operation of plant, maintenance of plant. It had our COVID-19 preventative maintenance expenses, security, debt service, and again, the related benefits for people who are employed within those categories. We dropped the COVID preventative maintenance from 250 to 0 this year because with some of these new grants, they're going to cover the COVID and preventative maintenance for COVID. So that's all going to be picked up on the grant side. The debt service was the big component that increased, and that's largely because we did issue the $16,960,000 back early September, and the first payment due on the debt service, which is interest only, is going to hit us this coming year in the 21-22 school year, and it was about 400,000 and change. The third and final component is the program component, which includes legal costs associated with running our programs, in-service training, regular school special ed, tuition for the regular school, tuition for special ed, school, library, and AV, audiovisual, instruction salaries, supplies, contract, and for BOCES, transportation, transfers to other funds, and again, employee benefits that are associated with the people employed in these areas as well. Next is estimated revenues. Again, state aid looks like it was a huge jump, but if you remember last year, we deliberately cut the state aid, which was the legislature's aid projection to Springs, to accommodate for the 20% cut that the governor had initially put in. We have since received that 20% this year. So we had dropped our budget by that 20%. We should have been a little bit higher, should have been about about 1.6 million, which would have been a slightly less increase year to year. So we've got 1.8 million now for the next year. We did have a few increases in various aid categories. Then you've got tuitions from other schools. We do have some special ed students from time to time attend Spring School from other school districts, and we then turn around and charge them tuition for that child or those children being in our school. The payments in lieu of taxes is another revenue item, also referred to as pilots. Last year we budgeted 105,000. We never know what that number is until the state generates and tells us what the number is. It turned out to be $127,086, which is the same number I'm carrying for 21-22, and we'll just make the adjustment once the state gives us the final number. Other revenues include interest, donations, a couple of other categories. We generally budget around 240,000 every year, and some years we're a little bit over, some years we're a little bit under. This year we're running just a little bit under the 240,000 item, so there was no reason to change that up or down. Then we've got the appropriations from fund balance. Last year, we used 1,231,166. Next year, we're anticipating 935,963, and largely because we're going to be able to utilize some of these special grants from the federal government and the state to help us offset some of the pandemic-related expenses due to COVID, both not only in next year and the year after, but also in this current fiscal year. So we didn't have to use so much of the appropriated fund balance, which allowed us to also pay back the repair reserve, the 500,000 that we initially borrowed, in order to supplement and pay for additional COVID-related expenses. The next line item is the estimated STAR. Last year it was 374,000. This year it's going to be around 350,000. Every year it has gone down. I've looked at it over the last 6 years, and it continuously goes down each year. I know that the governor would like to eliminate it as a credit on the tax bills, and instead have the office, the state controller's office, just issue STAR checks to the local taxpayers in December, January every year. So the net tax levy boils down to a 2.18%.
Next slide, Jim.
Okay, yeah, next slide. Okay. Something happened here. We kind of get this a little, the formatting is a little off, but the current budget is 30,049,000. The 21-22 budget is 30,800,000, a $750,000 budget increase, or 2.5%. Next slide. Same thing with revenues. Our current tax levy is 27,033,000. Our proposed tax levy is 27,589,000, $555,000 increase, which is a 2.06% tax levy increase. So tax levy at 2.06%, which is tax compliant. Remember I said our tax cap is 3.91%. So if you have a house with a fair market value of $500,000, you can expect that your estimated tax increase would be $66.18. For $750,000, the increase would be $99.27. $1 million, it's $132.36. And a house with an estimated fair market value of $1.5 million would have an increase of $198.53. I show you the assessed value because all of the tax rates are calculated off of assessed value, not off of fair market value. Next slide. Basic STAR savings for that should be 21-22. The assessed, it's for the basic STAR, it's a $300 exemption. Enhanced STAR, it's a $710 exemption. The assessed value denominator is $100, and the equalization rate is 0.58%. So I threw this in to kind of give people a little bit of an overview of how do you calculate your estimated tax levy for next year. Again, the tax levy is allocated based on your assessed value, also called your true value. The estimated 21-22 tax rate can be computed as follows. Take $1.1329, multiply it by your home's assessed value or taxable value, whichever one you know, it's right on your tax bill. So for instance, if your home has an assessed value of $6,800, your estimated tax would be $6,800 times 1.13299 would give you a tax of $7,704.34 for the spring school tax. Why is this an estimated computation? We do not have the final assessed values for the community. They generally come out over the next few months, somewhere around the end of May, beginning of June. Proposition number 2, the bus purchase and minivan purchase. Every year we've been trying to purchase at least one large passenger bus. This year, we want to try to get a small minivan that we will have set up as a bus for transporting the 1 or 2 students that are either homeless or to another school like out to Southampton, rather than driving one of the big vans or one of the big buses, which costs a lot more in fuel consumption. So for those 2 buses, we're looking at $150,000, not to exceed $150,000. That's proposition number 2. Proposition number 3, the roof replacement. The final sections of roof over the junior high and the 5th and 6th grade wings, they have reached the end of their useful lives and are showing their age. The following proposition will be put forth to the voters on May 18th. To draw down $1.1 million from the 2014 additions, renovations, and upgrades capital reserve for the purpose of replacing the roof at Spring School. This will result in no cost to the taxpayers in any time in the future as far as the debt service is concerned. Now, we always have to mention what happens if this budget does not pass. And I've put a little verbiage here about the Chapter 436 of the 1997 laws that establish the limits on the contingent budget. Basically, we have to get our tax levy, or we have to get the budget down so that the tax levy equals what it was last year. And if you recall from an earlier slide, the difference between last year's tax levy and this year's is $555,577. So for us to bring down the proposed budget from $30,800,134, we subtract out the $555,577. The contingent budget would then be $30,244,557. Contingent budget basically means we're going to lose a few. We potentially could lose a few things. It's equipment, any equipment that we wanted budgeted, that automatically gets eliminated for the most part. The only equipment that doesn't get lost is technology used in classrooms for student purposes. Some of the other items that we would lose will be up to the discretion pretty much of the board. If the time comes, we'll meet and discuss what options we have at that point. Next slide. Again, here are the important dates. Tonight is the drop dead date to adopt the budget and property tax report cards, which is what you're hopefully going to do tonight. We had to move that, I mentioned earlier, the budget hearing to May 10th, so that it matches up with the public notice that has been published for the last over the last 6 weeks, 3 times. And then the annual meeting, budget vote, and trustee election is May 18th. It's the 3rd Tuesday of May every year. And that concludes this presentation.
Thank you very much, Mike. And thank you for all the work that you and Deb have gone into and really trying to, trim things out of the budget every time the board has asked you to. It seems like we're in a very good place right now where we have the things that we need and we are not jeopardizing our fiscal health down the road by cutting too much. So we seem to be in good shape. I know this is part of the finance section. Does anybody have any questions about just Mike's presentation right now? No?
No, I mean, Mike, thanks. I know I gave you a lot of stuff the last few weeks to take a look at, and I know you made some adjustments, so we really appreciate it.
Okay.
I think you need to do a separate resolution for this.
We
You
do?
ready to do that now?
Yes. Yes, then let's go ahead and do that now. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby adopts the budget for the 2021-2022 school year in the amount of $30,800,134 and directs the district clerk to present the adopted budget as a proposition on the ballot to be presented to the residents of the school district at the annual budget vote and election to be held on May 18th, 2021. And be it further resolved that the Board of Education also adopts the attached property tax report card and directs the superintendent of schools to submit the property tax report card to the State Education Department by the end of the business day immediately following the board's adoption, but no later than 24 days prior to the date of the annual budget vote and election, as required by Education Law, Section 1716, parentheses 7. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. I'm glad we are done with that process for another year. Whew.
All right, item B in the finance is your March warrants. We had several catching up. Item C is your claims audit report for March 2021.
Oh, actually, Mike, I had questions about that because the person now doing the claims, it looks different from before. So I
Okay.
had a little trouble understanding what was going on there.
Okay, I'll take a look at her report because I'll take a look at her report and I'll have to get back to you on what's
Okay.
different about it.
Right, okay, because it just seems to be written out differently and there were some things lumped together there, which I think maybe had not been handled that way before, so it just confused me a little bit.
Yeah, it's very possible. I'll talk to
Yep.
to her as well.
Okay.
And we'll get it straightened out for you so that, it makes it a little, she's trying to make it more streamlined and a little clearer. So
Right.
maybe she hasn't been able to do that.
Okay, thanks.
Item D is the disposal of sled desks. We had 40 of the old-fashioned sled desks that we no longer need, have no value. Item E is the change order number 3 for JVR Electric. Item F is the allowance authorization number 1 for Land Tech. Item G is the allowance authorization number 2 for Stalco. Am I missing one? I don't know. Item H is the disposal of the outside display sign, that one that was on the big wall of the old gym. It kind of took a beating over some of these last windy days and with some of the brickwork going on the new side of the building. Item I is the health services for bridge contract with Bridgehampton. Item J is the UPK contract. We have a separate walk-on resolution for that.
Yes, we have 2 resolutions, Mike. When you get done with finance, maybe we can pull that one to the side and I can speak to it.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
we have
J.
separate resolutions for letter J.
Item K is the non-resident tuition rates for special education. Item L is the donation from the Greater East Hampton Education Foundation of $4,000 for John King's Fitness Center and Sean Knight for his science programs. And item M is another asset disposition. It involves a bunch of old Chromebooks and IT equipment that can no longer be repaired. A lot of them have been actually taken apart and used to fix other items. So these are the items that are left over. And that's it for the finance section.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Should we actually be approving these on consent agenda before we do J, or can we do J as part of everything, Julie?
We should do B through I and K through M.
Okay. So at this time, do I have a motion to move finance items B through I and then K through M to consent agenda?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who do you want? Who's going to read the 2 resolutions for the universal?
Let me talk about them first, Mike, and then we can move the resolutions, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so as everyone's aware, the district is completing a capital project which will bring all spring students K-8 into the main building. Given that the SYA building will be empty and available for the 21-22 school year, the spring school put out a request for proposals looking for a UPK provider, which would bring the program back onto the spring school campus. We had 3 programs apply, and 2 of those programs applied to operate a UPK program at spring school. At this time, I'm recommending to the Board of Education to award the request for proposals to Scope for the UPK program. Scope provided UPK for spring school at Most Holy Trinity from 2010 to 2018. Scope Educational Services has provided pre-K programs for over 25 years. Currently, Scope is operating quality pre-K and UPK programs at 15 Suffolk County districts, including Hampton Bays, Southold, Riverhead, and East Mauritius. The UPK pre-K will be a 2.5-hour program. The hours of the UPK program are 8:30 to 11 and then 12 to 2:30 p.m. Each half-day class will include 18 children with 1 New York State certified elementary early childhood teacher and 1 teacher assistant on site. The teacher assistant will have a high school diploma and meet the New York State requirements for teacher assistant positions. This will accommodate 36 children. In looking at this RFP, we had another provider put in not only to assist us with UPK, but to offer something called an integrated special ed pre-K. Just Kids currently provides UPK to students with disabilities and students without disabilities. Several of our students with disabilities were served by another program located in Southampton. Just Kids will be able to offer this program at the SYA building. It is called an integrated class. It will be staffed by 1 special ed teacher and 2 assistants. It will service 6 special ed children, as well as 6 UPK students in the morning and 6 UPK children in the afternoon, therefore increasing the number of UPK students that Springs can service from 36 to 48. The school lottery was pulled for a half a day, and I'm happy to report if we adopt both programs this evening, both programs will provide services to our UPK students at the same rate during the same hours. They're both licensed. They both have experience. In fact, Hampton Bays has Just Kids across the hall from the Scope program. So that would be both programs back at the SYA building. Just Kids has been in business for 40 years and operates in 4 districts in Suffolk County and 1 district in Nassau County. So I have this before the Board of Education tonight. This board is all about equity, and I believe recommending both these programs this evening, we will have equity for as many as 48 UPK students plus 6 students with disabilities. And when I say disabilities, I mean speech impaired children, not children that would require additional services. Questions before Mike reads the resolutions?
Deb, thanks very much. This does allow us to service more of our school population than we thought we would be able to, and have more equity. And also, as we had told our community when we proposed our building plans, we said we would really like to bring everybody back on campus. And now that we have the space to have all of our kindergarten children in the main building, bringing those kids back is having them is what we said we would do. So I'm happy that we are able to do that.
I'm thrilled, Barbara. Both programs are phenomenal, and our students will definitely benefit from being on campus. We're already thinking on how junior high students can do some community service, share their experiences, read to the children, do art projects with them, music. It's going to be wonderful.
Were there any other questions at this time about this? Okay, Mike, do you want to, does whoever has the resolution?
Yeah, I have it.
Great, if you could
All
be
right.
so kind.
Yep. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby awards the universal pre-K contract for the 2021/2022 school year to Scope at a maximum cost of $97,200, subject to the execution of a formal contract. And be it resolved that the Board of Education awards a pre-K contract to Just Kids for the integrated 12-1-1 special education program for the 2021/2022 school year at the maximum cost of $32,400, subject to the execution of a formal contract.
I just have a question. Is that number correct there that you said for the scope from what we were last looking at, Deb?
Mike, what was the number you had there?
97,200. That's the gross cost
for both
without
programs?
any other
No,
deductions.
that's for Scope.
Yep, and then the Just Kids for the integrated program, the gross cost is $32,400. It
Right,
does
and
not
it-
include all of the other reimbursables and things like that. That's going to be what we're going to have in the contract to bring it down.
Gotcha. So that does not include the UPK grant and all that stuff.
Correct.
Correct.
Understood that. Thank you.
That's what we're agreeing to pay. Mike, I think it's a 12-1-2 for Just Kids, not a
I don't know,
12-1-1.
the only number I've seen is 12-1-1, but that's fine.
Okay.
It's 12-1-2.
Okay. Well, in that case, I make a motion. Or actually, somebody else can make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, thank you.
Thank you. We'll get a letter out to all our parents tomorrow.
Okay. Carrie?
Oops, sorry. My printer decided to calibrate in the middle of this, so that's fun. I just wanted to say thank you to the board for approving the special ed class to come be in the SYA building. I think it's going to be beneficial to our students with special needs as well as our gen ed population and the parents, and hopefully we will be able to build upon this and continue to grow. So our special ed programs have always done well, and we're hoping that that will help with our preschool as well. So thank you. Special ed committee, most of them are annual meetings where hopefully we definitely will be done by the end of May with annuals. We did have some late preschoolers that were classified, so we will have their annuals at the end of May to make sure that their services are all ready for the summer and the fall.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby accepts the recommendations from the Committee on Preschool Special Education and the Committee on Special Education CPSE cases 1 through 8 and CSE cases 1 through 26. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you. Now, next on our agenda, we have our principals report.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. Good evening, everyone. So an update on 8th grade graduation. The New York State Department of Health decided to update their guidelines again for end of the year ceremonies regarding schools and universities. So that has thrown a bit of a wrench in our works here, but we surveyed the eighth graders and they overwhelmingly chose an outdoor ceremony on the field at spring school as their first choice for how to celebrate. They also overwhelmingly chose, they said that they preferred to graduate with their entire class together instead of separating it out into 2 or 3 different ceremonies. So we were looking at all the graduates, 84 of them graduating together, and we were thinking 4 family members per graduate. According to the new guidelines, there are new restrictions where outdoor events are limited to 200 or less attendees without proof of testing or negative COVID results. So we have a decision to make now, whether or not we want to continue with 4 family members per graduate, which would bring us to 336 attendees minus the staff on hand, or if we do two family members per graduate, which would bring us under the 200 at 168 minus the event staff. It really depends on logistically how we want to roll out the proof of negative results. I know that East Hampton High School has recently come out with a statement saying that for their high school graduation, they are exceeding the 200 attendee limit for an outdoor event, and they will be seeking proof of either a negative PCR test within 72 hours of the event or a negative rapid test within 6 hours of the event, or proof of vaccination within 14 days of the event. It's a little extra legwork, but I know that we're willing to do that to give the graduates what they prefer. They've lost enough already, and we'd really like to see them graduate with their entire class. And so I think what we're going to do is exceed the 200 and just plan the logistics very carefully where we stagger the arrival and we stagger the dismissal. There has to be 6-foot social distancing between the graduates, and the families can sit in pods as long as they're, within the same group. I think it's very doable. I just think we need that proof, and we will definitely get that information out to parents sooner rather than later, so that if they are currently vaccinated, they can get that proof into us. And if they're not, they can go and get vaccinated between now and when the event is happening. So the date of the event right now, because we had to take into consideration Regents exams, which are on the 23rd and 24th of June. Right now, our event date is June 24th at 6 p.m. out on the back field. We have already ordered and reserved the mobile stage, and we will make that look very nice for the graduates. And the rain date would be the very next day, which is that Friday, and it would also be in the evening because that would alleviate some of our issues we have with parking. It does not conflict with East Hampton High School. Their graduation is slated for Saturday, the 26th at 10 in the morning. So that is what we have so far. We are going to continue to hammer out all the details and get the information out as soon as possible. There is a parent committee that is meeting on Wednesday at 5:30. So if any parents of 8th grade students are available and interested in helping out as far as making the ceremony special for the kids and coming up with either a gift or some sort of special send-off for them, you can join us remotely. You can contact Ashley Liebath, who called in earlier, who's the president of our PTA, or you can contact me or Miss Winter. We will also be there for the meeting. So we have lots of parents so far that are interested in helping out and being part of this, and we really hope to make it a wonderful celebration for our students. Does anybody have any questions?
No, thanks, Christine. I mean, it sounds like, these kids want to be together, and good for them for wanting to have their whole class together. And I know you guys will be able to make this happen. And certainly the sooner people can get information to you, in terms of being vaccinated, that will help, really how many numbers you have to deal with at the end. And, I'm sure you'll figure out the logistics of arrival and all that just fine.
We're already working on it. So we just really, it's important to us to really see these kids shine on that night and get back some of the things that they're, that they're grieving. So we're looking forward to a special evening.
Great, thank you very much. Deb, do you want to give us the enrollment report?
Sure. I think we have one increase since the last time we met. We're at a total of 610 students on site. With our pre-K students, we have 29, so that puts us at 639. We still have 14 students that are remote and about 26 students that are being taught at home, and we are making those phone calls now to see how many of those are coming back, and we've heard many of them are coming back so far. And when you add in our BOCES students and our students that are out of the district paid for by their parents at private schools, the total enrollment, including the high school, currently there are 334 students at the high school. For spring school, it's 1,012 students. So we have not changed too much from this year.
All right, okay, thanks, Deb.
It's pretty consistent. Barbara, just for a minute on the COVID update. We will be bringing forward to the board recommendations to go along with the Department of Health new guidance that says classes can be 3 feet apart. I want to put that out there tonight that currently we have desk shields on our desk, and our teachers have started to group students so that they could work together. So they are within the 3 feet, but they have desk shields. The Department of Health does not require the desk shields, but we are strongly recommending the desk shields if the teachers are going to put the kids less than 3 feet apart. The other recommendations that came out in this guidance, I am happy to say, are already in our plan. They made recommendations for the MERV filters. We continue to purchase them to keep a stock of them. We continue to have our windows open. You saw the plans tonight. New windows are going in. That'll make it even easier to keep those windows open. Modified cleaning is already in our plan. We clean midday, heavy surfaces. We clean bathrooms really well every evening. And of course, our classrooms and offices are cleaned every day. It requires our school district and our teachers to teach and reinforce hand washing. That was in our original plan, and we continue to do that. And it is recommending that I put forth to the community that yes, in certain circumstances, our children are with under the 6-foot guidance, which is allowed now. But as I said, I'm recommending that desk shields still be used when they do that. And it's just to allow students some face-to-face time. One of the big changes is mask wearing. They are recommending that masks be worn at all times except during meals. And when they go outside for recess, they get a mask break outside. So masks should be worn in school except for eating, whether it be eating snack, drinking, or eating their lunch. So we will make those changes and notify the Department of Health and notify our community and our teachers of that. Just those 2 small changes in the social distancing and the mask wearing. Otherwise, everything else is in our plan already.
Okay, thanks, Deb.
Yeah, I got a question.
Yes.
You mentioned no mask outside, even within.
They can take a mask break outside.
Okay,
A mask.
social distance though, right?
Yes, social distancing, and it's a mask break. So even if you see children on the field, they still have their mask on, even though it might be under their nose at times. They still have to have their mask.
Thank you.
We do have a few items of old business here, which are approval of minutes from previous meetings. So let's see. So be it resolved that the board accepts the minutes from the March 1st, 2021 work session, the March 1st, 2021 budget workshop number 2, the March 15th, 2021 regular meeting, and the March 22nd, 2021 budget workshop number 3. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then Deb, regarding new business, we have something here from Guildhall.
Yes, and John Gibbons, do you have the drawings from the students? Mine is not opening. Julie, did you send John the graphics that go along with this?
Yeah, I forwarded him the email that you sent me.
Okay. John, could you upload that? Oh, there it is. Good, thank you. Okay. So our students participated in a workshop with Guildhall, and they were inspired by the work of Amen Zygmunt, a local artist. There it is. And the 2 pictures that you see there are done by our students. Julie, there was also a graphic on the update on the actual board agenda. Did you see that one, Julie? So what happened was the artist was inspired by these 2 drawings that were done by our students. They put together, and I can't open mine. Can somebody open theirs? There. No.
John, it's on the actual agenda itself. I'll forward that to you, John, in email.
Thank you, Julie. Because so the artist was inspired by the work that the students did. And then the artist came out to the school and did a rendering of what she is proposing for the bus loop sidewalk. So I'm putting this forward to the board tonight to see what your thoughts are. She will do the project with the students that were involved in this. And you know, Christine and I have looked at this several times and are just so inspired by the work that this artist has done in New York City, in the Bronx, and wants to do this free of charge for our students. All the supplies will be provided by another local artist. And I think it's worth entertaining this. I just want to show you what the renderings are from the artist. So these 2 are from students.
Right. Is John going to put the other one up?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still waiting to get it. Sorry.
Did you send it, Jules? Yeah, I don't know about anybody else could open the attachment.
Yeah, it's on the actual board agenda. Like if you open up the agenda, it's on the agenda.
I know, but mine won't open.
Okay, hold on. Let me see what I can. John, if you open the actual agenda, it's on the agenda.
Yeah, the pictures don't open now.
Where though?
Hold on.
Maybe you can send it from the email straight to him.
Yeah, I don't see it on the agenda.
Her rendering is not on the agenda.
Can we do a discussion at the next work session on May 10th?
Yeah.
Sure. Yep.
That'd be perfect.
Okay.
We will do that. Sorry about that.
Okay, that's fine. So at this time, it's time for public commentary number 2. I know, Matt, there had been a couple of callers on hold earlier. Are those people still there?
Yes, they are. Would you like to take them?
Certainly.
Okay, please give me a second.
Yep.
Caller ending in 8764.
Good evening, school board. This is David Buddha. How are you?
Oh, good evening, David. Good, thank you.
I'd like to address 2 points. The first one being the final budget numbers that you have adopted tonight, and the second one has to do with the major revision in the pre-K program. But first, as far as the budget, I appreciate that it's extremely difficult to do a budget. There's 1,000 moving parts, and Mike must be pulling his hair out every day. But and the presentation that you had tonight, just came up available to the public and was put online just before the meeting. So I've tried to take a look at it, and I want to applaud you, the school board, and this administration for making substantial changes from April the 12th to today. The overall budget, which was planned to be an increase of 4.12%, is now a budget increase of only 2.5%. And that, of course, affects the entire educational community, how much money is spent to provide education. As far as the town, the Springs taxpayers, the tax levy amount has gone from a proposed increase, a projected increase of, or a proposed increase of 2.61% down to 2.06%. That is also going in the right direction, and I appreciate that. But to the individual taxpayer, the number that has the most meaning is the third number, which Mike alluded to. And frankly, I did a quick calculation, and it came up with an anomaly or an enigma. The third number is the individual, is the tax rate, projected tax rate per assessed value, which is usually represented in terms of a tax rate per $1,000 of assessed value. So in view of the fact that the budget has come down less than what was anticipated 2 weeks ago, the tax levy total amount to be raised by taxes has come down as well. If you take a look at the tax rate that you had last year that was imposed upon taxpayers, it was a tax rate of $1,084.71 per $1,000 of assessed value. The number that Mike used tonight as the result of the change in the budget that you've adopted already is a tax rate of $1,132.99 per $1,000 of assessed value. Well, I did a quick calculation, and believe it or not, that's a 4.5% increase over last year's tax rate. So I'm a little bit nonplussed as to how that seemingly increase of 4.5% is necessary to support a tax levy increase of much less and a budget increase of much less. So I'm going to have to ask Mike to think about that and maybe explain it at the next meeting, and I'm going to take a look at it as well. I'm sure there are a lot of things that go into his calculation of the projected tax rate, but it does strike me as a 4.5% increase in the tax rate per assessed value. And assessed values, of course, change based on the number of new developments and properties, and things change. But that's striking to me that we're projecting a 4.5% increase in the tax rate over last year's tax rate. Now, the only part of the budget
pointing that out, David. We'll ask Mike to, let's double check those numbers and see what the what that is.
The other point of the budget that I'd like to comment on is I don't understand why, from 2 weeks ago, why you've reduced the amount of proposed appropriation from fund balance. You're now projecting a $300,000 reduction in the appropriation from fund balance as opposed to last year. And as Mike mentioned in the course of his discussion, this year you under anticipated state aid, and therefore you received more tax aid than you anticipated, about, I think you said $200,000. So I would have expected that your ability to appropriate money from fund balance should have increased and not decreased by $300,000. So that's another thing that I think the board and the taxpayer should take a look at and try to understand better. And if I could just go to my third point, which is the new pre-K arrangement. I don't know. It was hard to digest it all, hearing it for the first time tonight. But if I understand correctly, in the years past, when your program was being run at Elmore Whitmore, one of the issues was a lot of parents need to have their kids not just in the 2.5-hour pre-K program, but also purchase, I guess, pay for additional time for daycare or whatever you want to call it, because the parents are working and unable to take care of the kids for the second half of the day. With the arrangement that you're proposing to be done at the SYA building with basically split shifts, what will happen, what facilities and what arrangements will be offered to those parents and children who need to participate in a full day program at the additional cost of their parents?
David, thank
So
you
that's
very
the
much
question.
for your questions. I don't know if Mike wants to address your particular finance questions right now off the cuff, or if that's something he'll get back to you on. But regarding the pre-K, that is, as in the past, we have offered a half-day pre-K before, and that is what we are offering right now. And if parents can always make extra arrangements if they need to for themselves. The school is not offering any extra extended day program.
Correct, but at Elmore Whitmore, apparently, if I remember correctly, in the last year or two, since you switched from the SCOPE program at the church location, Eleanor Whitmer was able to provide an afternoon program or a second half of the day program for those children that whose parents needed to have them taken care of because they were unable to take care of them because they're both working. So has any thought been given to addressing that issue?
Barbara, if I can, the daycare license is a different license. These are preschool providers that are going to provide preschool. So if a family needed a full day, they would have to look for a full day program or use our program for half a day and then find a half a day daycare program. But these are half day universal pre-K programs that we receive funding for. So we need to pick a provider that provides the UPK program.
I understand that, and I appreciate that, and it's not the school's responsibility to provide daycare. I thought from my years of watching some of these meetings, it was always an issue for some of the parents that they needed to make some arrangements and transport the kids or maintain them in a daycare setting for the other half of the day.
It still may be.
It still may be very possible, but that's sort of outside of the school's bailiwick in this particular, this situation. And we do have parents who have already signed up for what we are able to offer for our half-day capacity. And, I'm very happy that parents are able to take advantage of what we can offer them this year. So David, thank you very much for your questions. Matt, I believe,
If Mike has any comments or responses to my other questions on the finance side, I'd appreciate it.
Sorry, let me just ask Matt, do we still have another caller on hold?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Mike,
I'll have to take another closer look at the tax rate difference, but what I suspect it is last year at this time, like I said before, we don't have the final assessed values for the community. And last year they did change between this time last year and by the time the summer rolled around. I anticipate we're going to see another assessed value change. And if your assessed values go up, it tends to change the number of your tax rate, the 1.084 versus the 1.132. But when I do the 2.06, I'm taking last year's assessed value that was used for generating the tax bills, and I use the same assessed value this year without modification so that you can see what the comparison using the same assessed values would be. As for the fund balance appropriation, yes, it did drop a little bit, But originally, we were planning on just paying back $100,000 to our repair reserve that we had borrowed $500,000 in November. We are required, we can borrow the money, but we are required to pay it back. So instead, we decided to pay back the full 500, which resulted in reducing the available fund balance appropriation. And even still, we still have another 2-3 months of in the school year to factor in what the final fund balance will be. So again, it's a moving target, it's an estimate, it's a projection. So we're trying to do the best we can and keep the tax rates stable.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you, David. Matt, if you could put the other caller through, please.
Okay, give me 1 second, please. Caller ending in 1588. You are on.
Hello?
There's a delay, Barbara. Hang on.
Okay.
Caller, you're going to have to mute your TV or other device so that we can hear you.
Hi, this is Sean Knight calling in.
Oh,
Hello?
hi, Sean. Yes, hi there. We can hear you. Hello? Hi, Sean.
Hi, this is Sean Knight calling in.
Hi. Yes. Do you have a question?
Hello?
Hi, we're here. Oh, dear. We can hear you.
Hello?
I'll tell him.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello?
We can hear you. Hello?
This is Sean Knight calling in.
Sean, this is
Hi.
LTV. You can hear us,
I
right?
just wanted to start off by thanking Mrs. Mondini for all that she has done for our school. We truly appreciate everything she has done. The point I wanted to bring up tonight was okay.
We lost him?
All right. I think there's a little bit of delay, so I'm going to keep going.
Deb, are you letting him know it's rather a lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going. We can
My
hear him.
concern over the STEAM position not being filled for next year. The STEAM program offers our students at each grade level many opportunities for learning that goes way beyond science. The technology component of the STEAM program is a big asset to our district and ensures that students at each grade level, beginning with our youngest learners, have the opportunity to learn skills on the Chromebooks. Each student in our district is given a device, and it's important they learn how to use it to help and enhance their learning in the classroom. We saw firsthand during COVID how important this technology piece really is. You know, we can't assume that just because they're given a device, they know how to use it. And we've also realized that each teacher comes to the table with a different level of comfort as it goes with technology. You know, so having the STEAM position allows each student that we have to receive that same instruction. You know, we have a great science program at our school here and a lot of hands-on activities, but the part of STEAM allows the students to really have the opportunity to explore, build, and create in a completely different kind of environment. I know this year, Mr. Holman and I were really able to tie in the science and technology together, and he was able to really help out the K-2 by adding in a lot of the science that they were able to miss because of the scheduling this year. So we're really hoping that we can consider bringing this program back in to really help fill in some of the gaps moving forward and keeping our strong technology at our school going as we move forward, leading into our robotics programs.
Sean, thank you very much for calling in. I think we might have missed a little bit of what you had been saying there at the beginning, but I know you're concerned about the STEAM program. Deb, do we have any thoughts on when we can possibly, now that Mr. Hallman's left, continue with that program, or?
We're looking at scheduling, Barbara. As you know, we have a work session on the 10th, and the big topic will be, how do we fit in phys ed, which we were under the requirements, and now we have a new gym and we have additional gym space. So we have to fit gym in. We have mandates for 6, 7, and 8 that come from the state. So we would like to focus on scheduling the board on the 10th and make some recommendations at that time. When you're looking at your budget and you do have retirements, you try to sustain those retirements and not replace. We definitely see the value in STEAM. We definitely do not want to cut that out. We definitely see the value in early training on the devices, but it is definitely a balancing act with everything we have to cover, and that's why we're actually even looking at a 9-period day, not extending the day, but just a 9-period day within the day to fit everything in that we have to fit in.
Right, yeah, so we've certainly spoken for a long time about how our kids really aren't getting the required amount of gym, but of course, once you do start getting that, then that time has to come from someplace else, and there's only X amount of hours in a school day. So, I mean, it sounds like we definitely have some juggling to do this year and as we go into next year, which, I mean, our new building will help some things, but it gives us more space, not more time. So I certainly look forward to hearing, what you guys have to say about all this on the 10th.
We'll be ready.
Sean, thank you for calling in. Matt, do we have anybody else on the line at this time?
0 callers, Barbara. Thank you.
Okay. So that effectively wraps up our meeting for today, unless somebody on the board has anything else they want to go over at this time. Otherwise, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Have a good night.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night,
See you all soon.
everybody.